This is Wirebird.
The Sound Shelter is the name of the studio. Chris and I built it.
Like, you know what? I gotta come down here and just visit you and see what you're doing, because I started this damn little zine and I was
know,
like,
man.
we gotta get something for you.
Well, I love having you here, and dude, I've been enjoying watching that grow.
You like that?
Ghost Man and
yeah, all the comic
you've
book
got
stuff.
a whole Is that what you guys are doing in Knoxville? Is there a Comic Con or something?
No, I came down here for you.
Really?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, shit, I'm touched, man.
I came down here, bring your pistols, and show your whole facility off a little bit.
Well, I'll show you. The stuff that we're working on right now, the band that he's producing and that I'm mixing is they're, I don't know if you can tell from the music, but they're very anime oriented. Like their marketing is very, because they're all total comic book nerds. So I keep abreast of the comic anime world through them.
Nice. Like you said, you're not trying to market and try to take on the bigger. You're looking out for the little ones. You're looking out for the little guy, which is fantastic.
Yeah, thanks, man. Well, I had spent a lot of time as an artist myself, you know, and I still do. I still dip my feet in that, but since I kind of took over the producer role more and we built this place, I still have the mentality of the artist that doesn't know where he fits in this whole thing. So I guess, you know, that I have that soft spot for the ones that I work with, the ones that I see with like really exponential talent and something to say. They do, and a voice. They just don't have the channel yet to give that voice an outlet. And so I don't have all the resources in the world, but I certainly utilize the resources that I do to kind of, and so much of it just is community, like power in numbers. And the more, you know, good energy you have circulating around your, whatever it is you're building, if it's music, it could be something else, that's just gonna grow on its own. And it took me a long time to really believe that. I've heard that, you know, you always hear that when you're young and full of piss and vinegar and you just want it now. And, you know, you'd hear, oh, you know, what's the slow and steady wins the race, you know? It all sounds like bullshit to me, but it's true. And I've seen a lot of people burn out quickly because they wanted it right now.
Yeah.
And then, like you're saying, when they didn't know where to take the next step, they give up.
And it's so disheartening to see that.
Oh yeah, dude, and it happens constantly. It does happen here. Usually when it happens here, people just leave town. Because they come here with an expectation. I mean, I certainly was not immune to the naivete of what Nashville, you know, it wasn't when I moved here, and now I can look back and see how, you know, young and cocky I was. But I see so many other people doing it too, is they think they're gonna come and just
blow up.
Well, and the town is not gonna know what hit them. Like this town that's been doing music for 100 years, just fine without you. Suddenly, you know, you're gonna come and just sweep them off their feet. That's not to say that you shouldn't develop it and come and dip your feet. It's just that when you have that expectation and then it's immediately met with either rejection, which it almost inevitably will be at some point, or it's met with complacency. People just don't give a shit. Or it doesn't happen as quickly, you know, or it doesn't happen the way, you know, there's so many variables. But when all that happens, you either do one or the other. You either leave, and I mean literally, physically leave.
You pack your stuff.
You move up.
Away.
Or, you know, and I've seen people stay, but they give up music altogether.
You know how hard it is. You saw how hard it is to get going.
Yeah.
And we've got so many bands up there right now that are like, they get to a point and then they don't know what else to do. And you just see them die.
That's universal.
Yeah.
But there is like here at least there's a built-in industry and I wouldn't say formula as much as there's like there's a structure, there's an infrastructure for music.
Right.
So yeah, you know, the funny thing about Nashville being it's the music city, it's the capital of music in the States, is that there's still those there's like this really very fortified structure of the music industry. A lot of it's country, but there's a lot of other stuff too. And that's very well populated and well structured. They've got the system down of how to put out music, how to evolve artists. I mean, they're still figuring it out like everybody else is with the new digital world that we live in. But there's that, and then there's still this outlier community, which is very much like Delaware and most towns that don't have the infrastructure, which is, and honestly, these guys are kind of, they fall into that. There's not necessarily a scene for what they do. They're building their own scene, which is awesome, but they're never going to be able to plug themselves into the system that's already in play here, just because that system's part of the culture here. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So, my point, I guess, is that there's always, it's really, I think it just comes down to kind of carving your own way or falling in line. I tend to favor the former, you know?
Yeah.
Because when I moved down here, I didn't fit into the, and I played that game for a little while and I realized it wasn't for me. But I stayed because I like the community and the people here. Mm-hmm. So, and you can throw a rock and hit a great musician here. That's the thing about it.
That was insane.
Why the hell would you do that to a great musician? That just seems mean.
Well, you can throw a knife too. It depends on what you're trying to get out of the deal.
Trying to eliminate the competition.
Yeah.
Long way since Kuru got it, man.
Yeah, no shit, man. Actually, found some of the CDs when I was home. This is the lounge / keyboard room / amp room / war room. This is how we keep track of where we're at in production. Nice. So, like, here's all the instruments, and we just start checking it off once we've got everything done. It usually never goes that far unless we're just overproducing the hell out of it. You know, got some old keyboards here. This is a mid-70s Wurlitzer that gets a lot of use. Yeah, it's still when it stays in tune. This is like this sound. This Juno is the sound of the '80s, like all those synthesizers, Strangers things. You know, and this is as old as that. I mean, this is one of the originals.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So it's funny though. I mean, this was 40 years ago that this was made, and now it's totally relevant again. It went good 25 years where nobody would touch them because they're like, who the hell's gonna play with this sound, you know?
And now it's
so
like
now every
Harleys.
band that comes in, they're like, we need a Juno.
Nice.
So we have it.
Cleaning the microwave.
Yeah, Great Dane, our intern, gets a shout out for the recent sanitization of that thing because you didn't want to see it a month ago. It was just like any frat house. You know? Yeah, and this is just kind of the lounge area where
just chill and hang out.
yeah. This is actually the vinyl of the record that was nominated for the Norwegian Grammy. So her name's Hege Oversveen.
Oversveen.
The Norwegians say everything with upward inflection.